Hi guys and gals, my name is Paul Schroen from Biconic of Mountain Springs, Nevada, and we are well into riding season, and if you're not out riding and enjoying this beautiful weather, shame on you. I wanted to put up some group riding tips. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he had mentioned about, when he was riding with our group that he didn't know a lot of the rules and things that were going on, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people are intimidated by group riding, and you really shouldn't be. It's a lot of fun. So I wanted to go over some of those riding tips. And hopefully next time you'll be able to get out and do some riding with us. Now, also I'm going to do some basic stuff as well. Just a lot of people are confused about where they should ride, the lane positions and stuff like that. So we're going to do a little bit of the basics of that. And there's all trains of thoughts on where you should and shouldn't ride. I always ride in that left third lane position when I'm riding by myself. Always, always, always. I just think it's the best to be able to see what's going on down the road and have other people see you. If you're in this lane position here in the left third, you can see, and you should be able to see this cage. You should be able to see their face in the mirror. If you can see their face in the mirror, they can see you. And you can see this person here. And obviously you should be following the 2-second rule. You can see them, they can see you. So that when this person clears this lane here, this guy isn't going to make a left-hand turn in front of you, or at least you hope not. If you're here over on the far left third, that's not going to work. If you're over here, and I'm not an artist guy, a graphic artist, so my little sticks with the balls on them, those are motorcycles. So if you're in that right third lane position, you cannot even see that car coming. He can't see you. So if you guys are riding up into this intersection, when this car clears, this guy is looking to see if he can go. He's going to turn right in front of you, and we know that spells disaster. So I really don't recommend riding in that first right third of the lane, unless of course you're in a group ride and you have to be in that position. So I don't recommend doing that. Now, a lot of people will say, well, they like to ride in that center of the lane, right? Because it gives you a lot more of the lane to play with. I don't agree with that either. Another reason is that you tend to be in a position where, even if you're following that 2-second rule, a piece of lumber or any debris of any kind, a dead animal or whatever, pops up from underneath that car. You've got 2 seconds to try and get out of the way. Why even bother putting yourself in that position? If you ride in this left 1/3 of the lane, you never have to worry about it. If there's debris in the road, that car hopefully will either kick it and knock it out of your way, or this car is going to react to debris in the road, and when he reacts, you're going to know that there's something there, and hopefully you can react too. So I really recommend riding in that left third lane position. Now, another thing here, if you're approaching it, now, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, guys, it doesn't matter where you ride. You can ride all over the place. It doesn't really matter. If you're approaching an intersection and where the lines of cars stop and there's people leaking oil, there is no way in that center lane position that you're going to be able to get stopped. It's going to be greasy. There's no two ways about it, and I'll argue that with you all day long. If you've ever tried to stop in that lane position, approaching an intersection, it's greasy. It just is. So again, if you're in that tire track, you have much better traction and better chance of stopping. So I really don't recommend riding in that right hand or in that middle position as well. So always sighting down the road. You should always, as much as possible, be sighting down the road and try to anticipate some of the things that are going on in there. So that's enough of just riding by yourself. Again, if you're out in the middle enjoying, you can, I like to do my little curvy ride and take up the whole lane. You can do whatever you want when you're by yourself. Now you start getting around other bikes, you start getting around other traffic, that's when you really need to start picking your position. And for me, left third is the best way to go. Now, when you're doing a group ride, guys, we like to stagger it up. First bike, your point bike, should be in that left-hand third of the lane, and then the second bike in the right-hand third bike in the left-hand third, fourth bike in the right, and stagger all the way down. That's the staggered riding position. The first bike and the third bike should have a 2-second difference in between the two of them, which means that every bike has at least 1 second in between them, and that way it gives you a little bit of leeway so that you can change lane position just a little bit. If you're weaving around, you're looking at stuff, gives you a little bit of a spot to move. So that's the 2-second, 1-second rule when you're in the staggered position. And single file, you'll ride single file if you're in the twisties. If you're going through a bunch of curves, you're best off to put one finger up, and that's this finger, guys, not the middle finger. That's a whole different thing. But one finger up kind of tells everyone to get in single file. We're going to go through some twisties. That way nobody gets into trouble. Staggered is fine, but everybody should be able to take up as much of that lane as possible if you're going through some twisties. You don't want everyone stuck in that right third or in that left third at that point. They should be able to use any part of the lane that they want to do. Side by side should be avoided. If you're riding in a group of bikes, it should be avoided unless you're sitting at a stoplight. Then you pull up side by side. As you pull away from the stoplight, go back into your staggered riding. Done deal. If you're doing 70 miles an hour and you guys are riding side by side and you come up to some kind of debris in the road, or you have to make some kind of sudden movement, you're going to collide with another bike, and we're talking disaster. So avoid the side by side stuff. Pointing out debris. This point guy is a really important guy in the group. He's looking down the road, trying to see if there's anything going on. Same thing with this first guy on the right-hand side, really. They're looking at stuff down the road. Now, if you see things that are going on down the road, you're going to just left hand point down at the debris so everyone can see that. Now, you're not going to be able to see it in the video, but if you're riding and you got your throttle hand going, obviously you don't want to let go of the throttle to point at something. Your speed's going to drop dramatically and, again, may cause an accident. So you're just going to use your foot, stick your foot out, point to the debris so that you can let everybody in the group know. Now, when this guy does that, everybody behind them should be signaling that back all the way through the group so that everybody can see that. If this first guy signals that there's an issue and nobody else does, the 8th, 10th, 12th bike, whatever, back in the group is not going to know that there's something coming and could get into some trouble. So you want to signal that. As soon as it's signaled, any signal that's given by this person and point should be signaled back through the entire group. And then watching in your mirrors. This is a big one with groups, especially if you don't have radio communication. If you have larger groups, 20, 30, 40, stuff like that, radio communication is really an important thing to have. But if you got a smaller group, even 10, 12 bikes, this first person, when 12 bikes stretch out, they really can't see that 10th and 11th and 12th bike, or even really past probably the 6th or 7th bike. So it's important for you not only to be paying attention to what's going on down the road, but pay attention in your mirrors, guys. You should be using those anyways to make sure nothing's sneaking up in behind you, or if bikes behind you have broken down and have an issue, you need to pull off when it's safe to do so. The person in front of you should see that, pull off when it's safe to do so, and so on and so forth, and that should ripple up through the group. If nobody does that, the first 6 bikes could drive 2, 3, 4, 5 miles before they even notice that there's anybody behind them that's gone, and then if somebody needs help, it just doesn't put you in a good position to be able to do that. So watch your mirrors. If bikes behind you are dropping off, pull off when it's safe to do so, and then that should ripple all the way up through the group, and then everybody gets help that they need. Passing with the group is a whole different ballgame. We avoid it if at all possible. If we're just driving down the freeway, we either will ride in the left lane to avoid people coming on and off the freeway, or if we're in a spot where we've got 3 lanes, we ride in that center lane. Why do you do that? All the other cars can drive around you. If you're in that center lane, if they want to pass on the left, they can pass on the left. If they want to pass on the right, they can pass on the right. And you're not having to weave through traffic with a whole bunch of bikes. It's just too hard to do. Another thing about that as well is it's really important when you're in heavy traffic, especially, to keep it tight. Maintain these 2 and 1 second positions. Maintain those positions. Keep it tight. If you start to break apart, that group breaks apart, now you've got cars that are going to go from that right or left lane, and they're going to swing right through the group over into your lane and then over into the far right lane, and can really put the entire group in jeopardy. You don't want to do that. Everybody needs to keep that group together, keep it tight, and not leave spacing in between where cars are going to do crazy, stupid stuff and put everybody in jeopardy. You just don't want to do that. So keep it tight. And no sudden movements. And when you're in a group, you don't want to make any crazy sudden movements. And I know nobody does that on purpose, but just try to keep it to a minimum. Just keep it, in your staggered. Don't do anything crazy. You've got plenty of room to be able to sway back and forth because you're in that staggered position. So there shouldn't be an issue, but no sudden braking, no sudden acceleration, stuff like that. If you feel like you want to get up and go and ride off in front of the group and get your speed on, then pull out into the left lane, pass the group safely, and you can go do what you want to do, and then come back to the group when you get a chance. But every now and then you want to get your speed on, so off you go. And that's about it. So it's all about just making safe movements, signaling to the other bikes if you're having issues, watching the other riders, and really it's when you're riding in a group, it is all about the group. It's not about you. So if you're one of those people, it's all about you, don't ride with a group. Simple as that. A lot of fun. You get to see a lot of really cool things when you're riding with a group. I think it's much safer myself, and I really enjoy group riding, and we've got a great group that we ride with. It's just fun, and that's the main point. That's why we ride motorcycles, right? you wouldn't ride a motorcycle if you didn't think it's fun, and that's why I ride. I just think it's such a fun thing to do. It's such sport of motorcycling is just a great activity, and love doing it. And it's just so much more fun when you're out with a group of riders, and it's safe. People see you a little bit more. You're a little bit louder, a little bit more headlights going on, so you're a bigger object to be able to see. So hopefully we'll get you out here in a group ride real soon. We've got Laughlin coming up. We've got our annual Memorial Day coming up. Make sure you check those events out on our event calendar. If you have any questions at all, you can go to the contact form on biconiclv.com. And on the contact form, just drop in your name, email address, and then any questions that you have, and that'll send me a message directly. If you want to keep up with any of the stuff that we've got going on, put in your name and email address on the homepage there, and you'll get emails with various things like our group riding tips, emails for events and stuff like that. So again, my name is Paul Sharon from Biconic of Mountain Springs, and I hope to see you out on one of our rides soon. Have a great day and safe riding.